What if the biggest advantage in a Wimbledon match isn't a powerful serve or a crushing forehand, but knowing exactly how your opponent thinks? That's the fascinating situation Eala finds herself in. Just over a year ago, Alex wasn't preparing to defeat Renata Zarazua. She was standing on the same side of the net with her. At Roland Garros, the two teamed up in doubles, working together, building chemistry, and communicating with the kind of unspoken understanding that only trusted partners develop. They captured their opening round victory in Paris before falling in the second round to Ivana Popovic and Olga Danilovic. After the loss, they embraced, wished each other well, and went their separate ways. Neither could have imagined that just 13 months later, fate would bring them back together, this time as opponents in the opening round of Wimbledon. And that's what makes this matchup so intriguing. This isn't simply about serves, forehands, or rankings. It's about two players who already know each other's habits, strengths, and subtle tendencies. When you've shared a court as partners, you've seen the little details most opponents never get to witness. You know the reactions under pressure, the preferred patterns, and the instincts that can't be found on a scouting report. Today, all of that insider knowledge becomes a weapon. So let's break down why this first-round clash is far more compelling than it appears on paper, and why Eala, despite entering as the clear favorite, cannot afford to underestimate Renata Zarazua for even a single moment. Let's start with the biggest headline. Eala arrives at Wimbledon as the tournament's 29th seed. That number represents far more than just a ranking. It marks history. No Filipino tennis player has ever been seeded at a Grand Slam singles event. Even more remarkably, no Southeast Asian player has earned a Grand Slam singles seed since Thailand's Tamarine Tanasugan accomplished the feat at the 2009 Australian Open. Alex didn't receive that honor by chance. She earned every bit of it through one of the hottest grass court stretches on the WTA Tour this season. Everything began in Birmingham, where she stormed to the championship without dropping a single set before surviving a dramatic final against Nicola Barton-Kovar. Trailing late in the match, Alex showed incredible resilience, rallying from behind to win an unforgettable 2-hour, 38-minute battle. From there, she headed to Queen's Club, picked up another impressive victory over Wang Xinyu before running into rising teenager Iva Jovic, who handed her straight-set defeat. For many players, that would have ended the momentum. Instead, it became the turning point. Alex arrived in Berlin unseeded at one of the strongest WTA 500 events of the season and immediately shocked the tennis world. She defeated Donna Vekic, fresh off her Queen's Club title, in straight sets. Then came an even bigger statement. She knocked out world number 2 Elena Rybakina with another composed straight-set performance. If that wasn't enough, Alex followed it by defeating world number 8 Elena Svitolina, completing one of the most impressive three-match runs any player has produced on grass this year. 3 elite opponents, 3 straight victories, 1 unforgettable breakthrough. Her remarkable run finally ended in the semifinals against Linda Noskova, but by then the message had already been delivered. Eala wasn't enjoying a lucky week. She had officially arrived as one of the most dangerous players on grass. She then received a wildcard into Bad Homburg, where Elise Mertens ended her run in the opening round. On paper, Alex's 11-3 grass court record may not seem extraordinary, but context tells a completely different story. Those only 3 defeats came against Iva Jovic, Linda Noskova, and Elise Mertens, 3 players capable of beating almost anyone on this surface. Meanwhile, her 11 victories included a championship, wins over multiple top 10 stars, and a semi-final appearance at one of the toughest tournaments leading into Wimbledon. Those performances lifted her ranking back to world number 30 and secured the historic number 29 seed at Wimbledon. Renata Zarazua arrives with a very different story. Her 2026 season has been defined by inconsistency. 19 wins, 19 losses. At first glance, it looks balanced, but living through that kind of season feels like an endless uphill battle. After climbing to a career-high ranking of number 51 in late 2024, Zarazua has gradually slipped to world number 76. Even so, her accomplishments remain historic. She became the first Mexican woman in nearly 30 years to break into the WTA Top 100, and last year's stunning US Open victory over Madison Keys proved she has the ability to produce major upsets against the world's best. The challenge has been maintaining that level consistently. grass has been especially unforgiving. This season, all four of her grass court victories came during qualifying rounds in Berlin and Bad Homburg. Each time she reached the main draw, however, her tournament ended immediately. She also suffered another opening round loss at S. falling decisively to Barbora Kudermetova. That leaves her entering Wimbledon on the back of 3 consecutive first-round main draw defeats on grass. Her overall career grass record stands at 12 wins and 14 losses. She owns just 1 Wimbledon main draw victory, defeating Janina Wickmere in 2025 before Amanda Anisimova ended her run in the second round. Looking strictly at the numbers, the contrast couldn't be much clearer. On one side stands the number 29 seed, riding one of the hottest grass court streaks outside the top 10. On the other is a player still searching for momentum every time the competition reaches main draw level. The rankings, the recent form. The grass court results. Everything points toward Alex Eala. If these two had never met before, this preview would practically write itself. But that's exactly what makes this matchup so dangerous. Because Alex Eala and Renata Zarazua aren't strangers, they're former partners. And sometimes, the opponent who knows you best can also become the most unpredictable challenge of all. Renata Zarazua brings a completely different style of tennis to this matchup. Standing just 5'3", she's one of the smallest players on the WTA Tour, and that naturally limits the effectiveness of her serve. During the 2026 season, she has averaged just 0.44 aces per match. While she lands an impressive 75% of her first serves, she wins only about 55% of those points. On grass, those numbers become a real concern because serves that lack pace or precision often sit up just long enough for aggressive returners to attack. Instead, Zarazua has built her success around one of the strongest return games on tour. Her biggest weapon isn't overwhelming opponents with power, it's forcing them to hit one extra shot. Extending rallies until frustration leads to mistakes. On clay courts, that strategy can be incredibly effective. The slower surface gives her extra time to defend, reset, and gradually wear opponents down. Grass is a completely different challenge. The ball stays low, races through the court, and leaves very little time to react. Instead of rewarding long exchanges, the surface favors players who can strike early and finish points quickly. That's exactly why Zarazua's recent grass court struggles shouldn't come as a surprise. Her 3 straight opening round main draw losses weren't simply bad luck. They reflected the reality that her greatest strengths lose much of their effectiveness on this surface. Still, tennis isn't played on statistics alone, and that's where this matchup becomes especially fascinating. Their previous doubles partnership may provide Zarazua with information that most first-round opponents simply wouldn't have. Before Roland Garros, she and Alex Eala spent days practicing together, hitting countless balls, discussing tactics, and preparing as teammates. She has watched Alex serve from just a few feet away, not from the returner's position, but from the partner's side of the net. She's seen where Alex likes to place her second serve when she's looking to control the next shot. She knows how Alex moves forward when attacking the net. She has observed subtle habits and patterns that don't show up on video analysis. Will that knowledge completely change the outcome? Probably not. But if Alex becomes predictable early in the match, especially on serve, Zarazua is one of the few players capable of recognizing those tendencies almost immediately. There's another storyline that makes this match even bigger. The winner won't just survive the opening round. She'll likely earn one of the most captivating second-round matches of the entire tournament. Waiting in the next round is either Maya Joint of Australia or Serena Williams. Yes, that's Serena Williams. After accepting a Wimbledon wildcard, Serena's return instantly became one of the biggest stories in tennis. For Alex Eala, the possibilities couldn't be more dramatic. She already has history with Maya Joint, who defeated her in the 2025 Eastbourne final after Alex held 4 championship points. And then there's Serena, a player whose legacy needs no introduction. The thought of the first Filipino player ever seeded at a Grand Slam, facing arguably the greatest women's tennis player of all time on center court, is the kind of storyline every tournament hopes for. But none of that matters unless Alex first clears the obstacle standing directly in front of her. History is full of seeded players who looked ahead to an exciting second-round matchup, only to be eliminated before they ever got there. That's exactly why this opening match deserves complete attention. There's also an emotional side to this contest that statistics can never fully explain. Playing against someone you've partnered with isn't the same as facing an ordinary opponent. Professional players practice together all the time. They travel together. They share coaches, trainers, and practice courts. Then, a few days later, they're trying to knock each other out of a tournament. Most professionals learn how to separate friendship from competition, but doubles creates a different kind of relationship. When you choose someone as your partner, you're placing your trust in them. You're sharing game plans, discussing weaknesses, revealing strategies, and relying on each other during difficult moments. Turning that partnership into direct competition requires a completely different mindset. Fortunately for Alex, she's already shown she can make that emotional adjustment. Earlier this season, she competed against close friend and former doubles partner Iva without allowing personal feelings to affect her focus. Whether Zarazua can make that same transition remains uncertain. Her season has already been filled with inconsistency and emotional ups and downs, making this mental challenge even more significant. So what exactly does Zarazua need to do if she wants to pull off the upset? Her biggest opportunity starts with Alex's second serve. Throughout her career, Alex's serve has often been viewed as the least polished part of her game. Grass certainly helps disguise some of those weaknesses because even average serves stay low and move quickly through the court. But Zarazua owns an outstanding return game. She proved that by repeatedly breaking Madison Keys, one of the biggest servers in women's tennis, during their memorable US Open battle last year. If Zarazua can immediately apply pressure on Alex's service games, force extended deuce battles, and stretch rallies long enough to reduce Alex's attacking advantage, she'll give herself a genuine chance. She doesn't need to dominate every point. She simply needs to plant a seed of doubt. Because once uncertainty creeps into a player's service games, even a seeded favorite can begin to tighten under pressure. One final factor could quietly work in Zarazua's favor. She enters this match with almost nothing to lose. Her ranking has slipped. Her grass court season hasn't produced the results she wanted. Very few people outside Mexico expect her to win. Sometimes that freedom becomes a dangerous weapon. When expectations disappear, players swing more freely, take bigger chances, and often produce their very best tennis. Meanwhile, Alex carries an entirely different kind of pressure. She isn't just defending a seed. She's carrying history, expectations, and the hopes of an entire nation every time she steps onto the court. Eala won't be walking onto the Wimbledon court carrying only a tennis racket. She'll be carrying history. She's the first Filipino player ever to earn a Grand Slam singles seed, the first Southeast Asian player to achieve that milestone in nearly 2 decades. Waiting beyond the opening round could be a dream matchup against Serena Williams, making the spotlight even brighter. Every tennis fan in the Philippines will be watching. Millions of Filipinos around the world will be watching. Everyone who has followed Alex's remarkable journey, from the Rafa Nadal Academy to becoming one of the fastest rising stars in women's tennis, will be watching. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. Even for someone who has repeatedly proven she thrives on the biggest stages, the first Grand Slam match as a seeded player presents a unique challenge. When you're seeded, winning isn't considered an achievement, it's considered an expectation. Anything less than victory immediately feels like disappointment. That kind of pressure creates tension you can't measure with statistics. It shows up in tiny moments, a slightly rushed forehand, a cautious second serve, or a split-second hesitation on an important point. Those details rarely appear during warm-ups. They only emerge once the match begins. Still, there's one fact that's impossible to ignore. Over the past 3 weeks, Eala has defeated Donna Vekic on grass. She has beaten Elena Rybakina on grass. She has taken down Elena Svitolina on grass. She has captured a grass court title. Those aren't lucky wins. Those are the results of a player who has discovered exactly how to maximize her game on this surface. This isn't simply good form anymore. It's confidence. It's identity. Following her breakthrough run in Berlin, Alex admitted that becoming a Wimbledon seed meant something deeply personal. You could hear the emotion in her voice. She understood that she wasn't just making history for herself. She was making history for an entire nation. And perhaps the biggest difference between today's Eala and the teenager who first arrived on tour is how she's learned to handle expectations. Instead of letting the pressure overwhelm her, she's found a way to transform it into motivation. That growth could make all the difference. None of this should diminish what Renata Zarazua has accomplished. She's built a career that deserves enormous respect, breaking into the WTA Top 100 as a Mexican player, winning WTA 125 titles, pulling off one of the biggest upsets of last year's US Open by defeating Madison Keys. Those achievements didn't happen by accident. Tennis excellence also runs through her family's history. Her great uncle, Vicente Zarazua, captured Olympic doubles gold at the 1968 Mexico City Games, and today she's coached by her brother, Patricio. Every time she steps onto the court, she carries that family legacy with her, but recent results on grass paint a difficult picture. She enters Wimbledon after 3 consecutive first-round main draw defeats on the surface, each coming in straight sets against higher-level competition. More importantly, none of those opponents challenged her with the same left-handed patterns and aggressive shot-making that Alex brings into this matchup. So here's how I see this match unfolding. I believe Eala wins, and I believe she does it in straight sets. From the opening game, her left-handed serve should immediately create problems. That wide slice from the deuce court naturally drags right-handed opponents far outside the doubles alley, and on grass, that angle becomes even more dangerous because the ball stays so low after the bounce. I expect Zarazua to battle hard. She'll extend rallies. She'll make Alex work for service holds. She'll use her excellent return game to keep points competitive. But over the course of an entire match, the difference in serving quality and first-strike tennis should gradually separate the two players. I can see the opening set remaining close before Alex earns the crucial break late. Once she settles into her rhythm, the second set should become more comfortable as her confidence grows and her winners begin flowing more consistently. A scoreline like 6-3, 6-4 feels entirely realistic. If Alex serves especially well early, something like 6-2, 6-3 is certainly within reach. Still, there's one storyline I refuse to overlook. Their doubles partnership matters, not because it changes who's favored. Alex's game is simply built far better for grass courts, and no amount of insider knowledge can completely overcome that reality, but it adds something much deeper to the match. When Alex fires an ace down the tee or slices one wide at a crucial moment, she'll know the woman standing across the net once celebrated those very same serves as her teammate. When Zarazua anticipates one of Alex's favorite patterns because she remembers countless practice sessions together, there may be a brief moment of recognition that nobody in the stadium notices. Those tiny moments won't appear in the statistics. They won't show up in the highlights. But they're part of what makes tennis such a fascinating sport. Behind every scoreline are relationships, memories, shared experiences, and personal history. That's what makes this opening round match so compelling. Everything points toward Eala, her recent form, her confidence, her ranking, her success on grass. Every indicator suggests she should move on to the second round. But she'll also remember what happened in Cary, North Carolina. She'll remember winning the opening set before Renata Zarazua fought back to take the next 2. She'll remember that this is a competitor who has spent her entire career proving people wrong when the odds were stacked against her. That's why this match deserves respect. Respect the opponent. Respect the history. And if Eala plays with the same fearless confidence that carried her through Birmingham and Berlin, she'll take another historic step forward on the biggest stage in tennis.